Okay, so Mark from 122 Music Management, as it says on the screen there.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you've been up to lately, what bands you are looking to push forward a little bit and that you're working with, and how's it all going?
Well, first off, evening, Tim, and thanks very much for inviting us on board. So just yesterday, in fact, Still Traffico released their latest single called Stick Figure, which is a bit of a departure for them. It's got that kind of orange juice vibe. For me, it sort of like reminds me of sitting on a deck chair on a beach, sort of like having an orange juice and just loving where you are at that moment in time. It's got that kind of vibe. Promoting that, been sort of sending that out to various stations to try and get some airplay, and then obviously working towards playlisting over the next week or two. Then sort of like in the background, we do our virtual music festival called 24/1900, and we've been bringing in artists for that festival. Got, I think, 16 confirmed now. So we have to get 24 because it's over a 24-hour
I've seen
period.
That, yeah. I've seen people dropping out and having to people dropping back in.
Yeah, we've had it. Unfortunately, we've had a couple of people drop out, but these things are going to happen. But yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, so Still Traffico. How long they've been going? What are they? Are they a male, female, 3-piece, 4-piece? Whatever they're doing.
They've been going since 23.
Okay.
So originally 2 of them are from the northwest, like myself, so like Manchester way. Mm-hmm. Now based in London, although lead singer's moving to Cardiff to be with his partner. So there's 3 of them that are full time. They were a foursome, but they hire new session drummers to play live generally now. So yeah, and they're kind of, I'd suppose describe them as post-punk, but there's a lot of melody influence and songwriting from, say, the likes of Shaq. So it's kind of post-punk meets Shaq kind of vibe, and a bit of Smith sounds here and there as well.
Okay,
so.
let me quickly just play a little bit of that, and I'll come back to you in a second. Yeah, very quite guitar-y going on, bit guitar-y stuff.
Yeah, in fact, sort of like this one, I think it got described this morning as having a Khruangbin kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
There's Dan, who's a guitarist, is quite into his desert blues, so I can hear sort of like a little bit of Tina Rewen, not the right way, Tina Rewen in there. But yeah, there's lots of different influences. So the bassist actually is heavily into his rock and also classical. Dancing, lead guitarist is into, like I say, desert blues, but also house music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Cam, lead singer, vocalist, he's very much into just sort of like a good old indie boy, I suppose.
Okay, and what are they?
Are they huge Shaq fan?
Are they on?
Definitely, I've got to say that.
Yeah, are they on all streaming services? YouTube? They're on everywhere.
Yeah, they are everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
You can find Still Traffico if you go to our website 122musicmanagement.com.
Yeah.
We've got a page for them, Still Traffico, and basically we've got everything listed there, including their socials.
Sure. Yeah, that's where I just played that from actually. So I'll put that link in the description for the whole thing. So other bands you're working with at the moment?
Well, we've got Skydiving Penguins, and they released their cover of Elliott Smith's Between the Bars about 2 months ago. And Gia, who is Mr. Skydiving Penguins, is currently working on album number 2, which hopefully will be out later on this year.
Okay.
I need to catch up with Gear because I haven't had a chinwag with him for a while, but he's based out in Tbilisi in Georgia.
Okay, cool. And if someone wants to get in touch with you to maybe work with you or collaborate or whatever, how do they do that? Through the website?
Through the website, yeah, you can do that through the website or through our Linktree. So Linktree/122mm.
Okay.
We've got a contact point there. You can do that. And we tend to sort of like pick acts that we work with. I'm not trying to be difficult or anything like that, but we're quite aware as to sort of like new bands that are out there, new music that's out there. I know there's a whole raft of it, but try and stay with our ears to the ground and see what's coming out and see what we like. So we do that either through listening to Fresh on the Net, or Amazing Radio as well, with their new tunes, their first spins. So we try and keep abreast of what's coming out via those means.
Sure. Okay, cool. Excellent. So what's next for you?
Right now, like I say, working towards this 1900 Virtual Music Festival and getting that lineup confirmed for all 24 acts. And then working towards that for the rest of the year, working on whatever Still Traffico have coming out, working on Skydown Penguins. Plus, I should also mention as well, we do work with a few other bands that we kind of help out here and there. So one of them is someone called Specky Cult. Again, you'll find him on our website. So he's just released a single as well called I'm So Cold. And he's got another couple of tracks coming out before his album comes out in September.
Sure.
I've also been helping Grim 17, who's with the Lights and Lines label, so like get some stuff out as well. So yeah, wherever we can, wherever we see that there's someone needs our help, we'll try and sort of like do what we can to support them.
Excellent. Well, I just want to remind anyone that's watching that we have spoke before on this sort of thing, and it's how we build those relationships and maintain that sort of contact through most of it through social media platforms. But, there's always a bit of a link there. I recognise what you're doing, you recognise what I'm doing. That's what helps us all build each other's profile a little bit and share it all around. So just to remind everyone that, making that connection and maintaining it is well worth the effort, I think.
I completely agree. And, as we've talked before, I think maintaining those relationships, develop them, but maintain them, keep them going, because we all bring each other up together. Is the way I see it. And also cooperation, collaboration with other people. Never turn down that opportunity if something comes your way, because you never know what it might bring you.
Yeah. Well, we spoke about that just before this, didn't we? About you just don't know who's listening. So that's always the benefit of the mystery of what's going on, I suppose.
It's a delicious mystery indeed, yeah.
Many thanks for getting in touch and taking the opportunity to do this with us.
Yeah, cheers, Tim. I appreciate you having us on.
Okay, so tonight, folks, we're with Jackson Harden, all the way from somewhere a long way away. I read Utah, but now you're in somewhere else.
North Carolina.
Sure thing, okay. So, Jackson, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're up to, what sort of music you're doing. I've listened to a couple of tracks earlier. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, I'm Jackson. Like you said, I was born and raised in Utah, in the United States, and then I moved to North Carolina on the East Coast about 3 years ago. And I'm a folk singer-songwriter. I primarily play solo, sometimes with a band. I have a debut EP that I put out a couple years ago called Dakota Blue Moon, as well as a few singles. I'm working on a full-length album at the moment. And yeah, I suppose that's about it.
Okay, so as I said earlier, I've looked at your Spotify stuff, and you seem to have a good amount of traction there, streams. One track in particular is a lot of streams. So I suppose what people want to understand is how have you got to that point? Have you promoted yourself? Have you used a promoter? Have you paid somebody? Have you got a manager? How have you got to that point?
Yeah, I don't have a manager or anything. I've been doing everything DIY so far. The one track you're talking about, Down by the River, that was the first track I put out in 2018. So it does have the benefit of having more time. And I think that was long ago enough that it wasn't so saturated like it is today with music. It's like harder to get heard these days. And
what's your sort of strategy once you release a track? What's your strategy then to get people to hear it?
I pretty much dabbled in everything, like social media, pitching to playlists, pitching to blogs, just playing shows, seeing what sticks. That one particularly, for whatever reason, got on a lot of playlists, and one in particular, this folk playlist that when I got added to it was not a big playlist, but at some point it blew up and they just said they've never taken me off of it. And that's kind of been the main source. So I kind of looked out there. I'm just like everybody else. I'm trying to figure out the best way these days. It's hard to...
It's really difficult, And I think, I was talking to a guy, which will be part of this whole stream thing a couple of days ago, He runs a sort of small music management company. I think one of the things to try and remember is not to dismiss anything. I mean, we're doing this thing tonight, it came about through a Threads post and all that sort of stuff. And
Right.
you never quite know who's going to pick up on something, who's going to watch it and listen to it. So I think one of the things that I've learned is not to dismiss any opportunity, because some people can't really be bothered to get in to do this, and sit there for 10 minutes with the camera. They don't even want to do that, which I think,
Right.
if you're trying to promote yourself, surely you want to have any avenue possible.
Absolutely, yeah.
But the stuff, I'll listen to your track and we'll play a little bit in a second. And instantly for me, it said almost country folk, I think. That's what it said to me. It's kind of, it's not, it's produced well, it's done well. Did you do that yourself, or is it?
Yeah, that was all myself, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But it's not overproduced, if you see what I mean. It's not what I would call overproduced. It's a little bit possibly off my normal radar of the type of music that comes my way for blogs or for any sort of review or anything like that. But it's definitely got an appeal. I can see and hear it. So I'm just going to play a little bit of Strangers, which was the track you mentioned. And like I say, I'm not sure if you'll hear it, but let me play a little bit.
Okay. Sounds good.
Where are you headed? Can I tag along? And do you mind if I follow close behind? And let's be strangers in some.
Okay, so the first thing I noticed with that, for me, is that's in either a weird tune-in or something like drop C or something of that ilk.
Right, yeah. It's a modified open C tuning, so
You've got the low string tuned down to C.
Down to C, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's pretty low. It's hard to keep it in tune. Down there, but...
I've tried it. I listened to the track and then I tried it and I thought, man, this is going to be difficult. Is this actually what he's doing?
It is, yes.
What made you try that, or did you just want to get that low note in there?
I've just always liked alternate tunings, especially open tunings. Like I write most of my songs in open D. At some point I tried open C, and I wrote a few songs in there. I think it's like a great songwriting tool to just try different tunings and just see what happens naturally on your first go at it.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I started writing that song, as I started just in a tuning that I'm not used to. And I originally was in normal open C, and there was something I was trying to do that it was being a problem. So I tuned what's usually the G in standard tuning stays G in open C.
Sure.
But I tuned it down to E, still one of the notes in a C major triad. So it still worked, but it allowed me to do something a little more easily. Other people have done that. I thought I invented something, but I've seen that other people have done it as well. So.
Yeah. So are you gigging? You said sometimes you have a bit of a band going on, or are you out there doing stuff solo, just using the acoustic guitar? How's it working for you at the moment?
Yeah, I'm playing 4 or 5 times a month, usually solo, just around the few states around North Carolina where I live. Occasionally I'll play with the band for like special occasions, like when I had my EP release show, I played with the band. My latest songs have been like full band arrangements, so like capital S show. I try to get the band together, but
yeah. And is it
logistically? It's not always.
No.
You can do.
Do you record all the parts yourself though for your own songs, even though you use a band to play live?
Back in the day, like on that song and that EP, I did most of it. I've always left drums to somebody else because I'm not a drummer.
Yeah.
But like the bass, piano, guitars, vocals, harmonicas, and stuff, I would do myself. But guitar is my primary instrument, and now that I've started to meet other musicians that are better than me at those instruments, I've started to pass on the duties to people that are better than me. And
yeah. And is it full time for you, music?
In a sense, if you include teaching music lessons, that's like my primary income.
Okay.
But yeah, that and gigging, that's what I do.
Yeah. Have you done much collaboration stuff at all? You into that?
Yeah, I mean, I started out in a band back in Utah, like a rock band. Since I've moved here, I recently got involved in another project that's more of a collaborative thing, early stages. But not a lot of like working with other artists to release a song together. I've never done that.
Right.
At this point.
Yeah, I mean, it can work quite well. You know, if you've got an artist that's already got a little bit of traction, or you've both got traction, and you come together and do something as a guest sort of contributor or something like that, you know, you can suddenly find you just things can blow up a little bit. I've seen that happen once or twice. But
yeah, I need to try that.
But
I would love to do that.
Yeah, and there's lots of people I think out there into that sort of thing, but it's just trying to find them, you know, and often sometimes when you think you can work with someone, but then when they start putting stuff on your song, you know, I think you know pretty quickly. You think, do you know what? No, this is not going to work. You find out pretty quick. So where are you going next? Now you've got a few tracks out. You're obviously getting a little bit of attention on the playlists and whatnot. What's your next move?
Yeah, the next move is I really want to get in the studio, book some like actual studio time, and record a full-length album with my band. Like I said, the EP I did mostly myself, recorded just like in my bedroom. And while I was happy with the results, it's just like a really long process for me, and I'm still, there's so much I still don't know, and I'm not very efficient. I've met some great engineers and producers out here that I want to work with. So yeah, by the end of the year, I would love to track an album, release it sometime next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully play some shows further away and play some more full band shows. See if that does anything.
Cool. Okay, well, look, I mean, I shall put you on my, for what it's worth, I'll put you on my blog, my website blog. And,
thank you so much.
And a couple of playlists I've got for that sort of style of stuff that you're doing, so I'll drop that track on there as well.
Thank you, appreciate that.
And I don't think there's not millions of streams going anywhere, but, you know, I work on the basis that the more shelves you're on, the more chances are someone's going to pick you off that shelf, that sort of thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's how it works. So, been really cool talking. Like I said, these are primarily fairly short things. If you get something out and you're interested and you want to talk about it again, let me know and we can do something on that. And this will be a little while before this all goes out now, because I've got to get 3 or 4, 5 people all together. But appreciate you taking the time out to hook up anyway.
Likewise, yeah. Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Perfect. Good luck with your next venture, and keep us posted on what you're up to.
Thank you so much. Will do.
No worries. Take care. Okay, so next up we've got Liz, who goes under that Liz Uninvited, the artist we came into contact through Threads, like a lot of the people on this sort of thing. So Liz, tell us what you are all about, what music you're doing, what sort of stuff you're up to.
So I make indie folk, alternative kind of music. I usually write about like my struggles, like mental health struggles, usually stuff that I haven't really got the answers to, stuff that I'm still working through. I kind of write about that. And a lot of the time it's not very explicit. So it's like, you kind of have to think to understand what exactly I'm talking about in my music. But that's where it comes from usually. I'm very inspired by like Elliott Smith, Jeff Buckley, Death Cab for Cutie, Andy Schaaf, like all like the indie folk from like the 90s to 2000s, early 2010s. Okay,
and your the track I heard, which we'll play a little bit over a minute, it's fairly laid back, I'd say, quite relaxed. Is that generally the style of the stuff you're doing?
It depends, but yes, I kind of have like a quieter voice, so that's kind of how my music ends up sounding like.
And are you doing all recording yourself at home? Is that what you're up to?
Yes, I am sitting in my makeshift studio right now.
Okay, and producing it all yourself and shoving it out there.
Exactly, yes.
So what is your promotion strategy? Once you've got a song done, what do you do with it next, and how do you get it to the public?
So I recently started actually trying to, like, what's it called? Trying to nail down some sort of, like, strategy in terms of, like, social media to actually promote my music more the last couple of months. So I've kind of just been posting myself, playing my songs or covers of similar artists. And, yeah, a lot of short-form content
And is that working for you?
Actually, yes, because now that I've started posting every day, I've noticed some growth. But it kind of feels like the bane of my existence. But yeah, it works.
Yeah, it's a kind of never-ending circle, isn't it, of torture, really, having to... and then you feel if you stop doing it, all of a sudden, everything's going to slow down.
Exactly.
But I think if you can build a little bit of a fan base, I'm not sure what... I think people want to see... They want to see the content, but they also want to see the person, what you are all about. You talked about what your songs are written about, and I think people can, just as many people can identify with that, your situation, as well as just the music,
Mm-hmm.
How do you get on with Spotify generally? Do you feel it works for you?
Honestly, it's been kinder to me since one of my songs kind of blew up on YouTube. It blew up unexpectedly because it was like an older song. I made like an animation that seemingly went with it somehow kind of perfectly. And I posted that like almost a year after the song was released. And that got a lot of traction on YouTube, and that sent people over to my Spotify.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't bother with too many platforms. I think they stick with one or another. But I think, and it is difficult to spread, you can spread yourself too thin, can't you, if you're not careful.
Yeah.
And then you end up trying to post on all platforms every day, and it's just relentless. But I'm gonna just have a little listen to that track. Like I say, you may not hear it, but you'll know what it is anyway.
It's getting late, it's dark, it's day and night when you lay off and what to say, and the longer you stay, the worse it became with time and with age grew the dues that I paid, and I'm scared it's the same.
Okay, it sounds cool. It's there's a little bit of you double tracking the vocal on that one.
Which one did you end up choosing? Was it
Acceptance, yeah.
Yes, I usually double or triple or quadruple track the vocals.
Is that because you like the sound of that, or is it because you feel a little bit insecure with one vocal?
I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
It kind of gives like it has like a chorusy effect that I really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a bit of, are you playing all the instruments? Because there's a little bit of bass guitar on there, is there?
Oh yeah, okay. So I played all the instruments, but my producer friend that like works with me on some of my songs to like engineer them, he added the bass actually.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, it sounds nice, and I noticed a couple of the tracks have got some a few more streams than others. So the top one, I think, was it Mr. Fox or Fox, something like that.
Mr. Fox, yeah.
And is that the YouTube track you were talking about?
Yes.
Okay, is that a cover?
No, that's an original.
That's an original, but you've used some animation to try and tie it up with. Okay, I'll have to go and look at that, and I'll direct people to go and look at that because I haven't seen that one. So what are you up to next? Are you gigging at all? Are you doing any shows? Are you playing locally?
Yes, so I have been playing. I actually just started playing my own shows like back in June, and I have a few shows lined up for next month, I believe. And so in terms of songs, I do have one that is going to be released on September 1st, actually. I may be doing a show that day, so it kind of lines up perfectly. But yes, I do have a song that I just started promoting.
Okay.
That'll be released.
Okay. And how do you find the general social media platforms? I think we came into contact through Threads. How are you finding that? And the other platforms, are you finding one better than the other?
So I don't really use Threads like that. I avoided it at all costs, but somehow I just ended up like getting it by accident, and then I saw all these like call for artists, and I was like, okay, maybe I should do this.
Yeah, one thing I've found with Threads, because I use Threads, I used to use Twitter a lot, or X. That's kind of died off. Facebook for me is a little dead. Threads, I found, once you start sticking to your subject a lot, as long as you don't go too far off your subject, the whole thread as it is seems to be about music. And almost everything I see on Threads is music related. So maybe you'll find it good. And what about other outlets? What else are you using? Anything particular?
So I mainly like started with YouTube, because I was kind of really sick of Instagram for a while.
Yeah.
So I focused on YouTube a lot. I still do. I started being more active on Instagram in the last year or so, and I also post on TikTok.
Right. Yeah. How's that going for you?
I don't know. I don't think I've cracked the code on TikTok. Like, it's all right. It's not the worst, but I don't get it.
I find it quite short-lived, really. You can have a lot of success for a very short amount of time, and then it's all over.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the problem I find, do you have a website at all?
I have a portfolio website.
Yeah, because I think that's long term. I think that's a good idea, because I find that we get visitors to the website long after posts have been on, so they can be on for 6 months, and then people still search for an artist, something that comes around, and they start searching for someone, and they get directed to your website. And I think you've just got more control. You post, like you just said, TikTok, Instagram, all that. They control who sees all that more. Whereas on the website, you might not get as many visitors, but the people that do visit want to be there.
I will consider doing that.
So what's next on the agenda for you? What are you doing this week, next week, the week after? You're writing more songs?
Yeah, I actually have like quite a few songs in my in my demo folder, and I have a few more that I have to record and then start like working on my laptop.
Yeah.
I have just been procrastinating since I got back from. I was away for a little bit, and I'm just settling back down into the flow.
Sure.
So,
what recording software are you using?
So I've been using GarageBand for like the longest time. I have Logic Pro, like
Okay.
I'm learning to use Logic Pro, but it's mainly GarageBand.
Right. Okay. Well, that's pretty good. I think that's. I personally, I can't get on with that. I've never been able to get my head around it really. I know it's fairly straightforward, but it just doesn't work for me. But I know a lot of people use it.
I understand. I feel the same.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, so appreciate your time coming on.
Thank you.
And getting in touch, and we'll see how it goes, and good luck with your next venture. We'll wrap it up because, like I say, it's all short form, and I appreciate you coming on, and good luck with everything you're doing.
Thank you so much. You as well.
No worries. Take care. Okay, folks, so we're here with Western Jaguar tonight. Jeff is with us. He's going to tell us all about what he's up to with his music and his promotion and his whatever else he's up to. So, Jeff, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you're up to, what you're all about.
Well, Tim, thanks for having me on. My name's Jeff. I go by Western Jaguar musically. I'm from Canada, just outside of Vancouver, if you know where Vancouver is. And what am I up to, man? I'm always up to something.
Yeah.
If you follow me online, I'm always doing something new. I just released a new album on Bandcamp on August 1st. I got some singles coming out the rest of the year. And I'm also doing a YouTube series right now where I'm attempting to write an album in 180 days.
Okay.
So lots going on in Western Jaguar world right now.
That's always a challenge. Are you recording at home?
Yeah. Yeah, I do everything in this room right here.
Okay.
So everything has been done here.
What DAW are you using, and what sort of are you playing guitar? Are you doing keyboards? You programming?
Yeah, so I use Logic. And I've used Logic for the last probably 4 or 5 years, and it's just a beast. Like I love Logic.
Yeah.
It completely changed the way I make music when I got it.
Right.
And I do everything myself. So I do electric guitars, bass, acoustic, keyboards, singing, drums. I program just because I can't do it in here, but I try to do a lot of stuff on guitars, and then support it with synths in the box and drums. And
Yeah,
things
okay.
like that.
So what do you think your genre is?
This is a great question. I think about this often because I feel like I kind of drift. I drift around. It's somewhere in between like indie rock and like indie pop. It kind of fluctuates to different degrees of that.
Sure, yeah. Okay. And how you getting on with your songwriting, your promotion? What's working for you? What isn't working? What sort of social platforms are working for you? And that sort of thing.
That's a great question. It's something that I'm always constantly kind of changing, like I found kind of my first big, like, I guess you could say social media breakthrough on like Twitter.
Right.
That was like a couple years ago. But as things have kind of gone downhill, we don't need to get into that on Twitter, I kind of migrated more over to Threads.
Mm-hmm.
And I've kind of found a similar community on Threads. And I think a lot of my promoting, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like being a decent person in a way.
Yeah.
Like I love other people's music. I love listening to music, and just finding other people's music has led them to listen to my music. And it's kind of like that give and take in the indie community of like, let's listen to each other's music, and then you kind of find your people within that.
Yeah.
Like obviously you're not going to like everybody's music that's out there. It's the same as any type of thing. Like you have to find kind of your people. But I found just like having genuine interest in other people and their music has kind of built a community of people who are also interested in my music as well.
Yeah, I had a discussion with someone a couple of days ago about this sort of thing, and I think you need to explore all avenues because you never quite know who's looking or listening. I've had a couple of surprises over the last year or so with people getting in touch who I never thought I wouldn't even be on their radar, with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But they suddenly come up out of nowhere and say, "Hey, do you want to do something do some kind of sharing artists or whatever?" So there's always people out there, and you never know what's going on. So how's it going with you and streams and numbers? Are you Bandcamp? Are you Spotify? What are you Apple Music? What are you doing?
So I mainly push to Spotify, and I struggle with this because I know like a lot of people now are pulling stuff off Spotify, and like I don't blame people for doing that. I really don't. Like I understand it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And perfect example is I've had my music on Spotify for 8 years, and I think I've made about $200 on Spotify in 8 years. And I just released this new album on August 1st, and it's been 5 days as of recording this. And I made more money than that just on that album on Bandcamp in those 5 days than I made in 8 years of streaming.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I see the value in streaming. I see streaming as kind of like that gateway point. It's like this easy spot where anyone in the world can just listen to it and get like a taste. It's kind of like an appetizer at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Like you can, if it's on streaming, everyone has a platform they use. They can find it. They can have a taste. And if they like it, then maybe they'll get to that level where they're actually interested in purchasing it or supporting in a different way or a more meaningful way than just streaming. So like you said, you never know who's kind of watching. And I see that as like, streaming is like that for me. Like you just never know. If you push your streaming and maybe it goes into an algorithm or something and somebody may hear it, that becomes that person who wants to purchase your music. So that's kind of how I see streaming. Like I see it as a marketing tool more than caring about the numbers or anything like that.
Yeah, I think for most new artists, streaming numbers are relatively insignificant. I know it can be a morale booster, just like everything else, whether it's YouTube followers. Or, it can give you a bit of a buzz. But really, and sometimes people will gauge you by those sort of metrics. They might look at YouTube and think, "Well, no, he's got 1 million followers. He must be doing something great." But I've watched so many YouTubers who are in a real bad state of mind because of their successful YouTube channel. You know, they don't know where to go next. But and I think in your case, where you've suddenly done okay on Bandcamp, that could work the other way for you. So people who've discovered your Bandcamp could then start thinking, well, I just want to stream some of his other stuff. So they'll go over to Spotify and they find you on there and discover some other stuff as well.
No, and I think it definitely goes both ways. And like I've always had this idea of like, again, I don't want to put down anyone who's taking their stuff off Spotify or streaming. Like I completely understand that side of things. But as someone just making art for the enjoyment of making art, I also want to make it easy for people to find it if they do enjoy it. I don't want to make it a trek for them to try to find where to listen to my music. And if somebody is interested in listening to it, like why should I make it hoops and hurdles for them to listen to it? That's kind of where I come from.
I'm not sure where the Bandcamp audience really is, because a lot of people in the general music listener domain don't even know what Bandcamp is. And
yeah, for sure.
But I guess the real musician, people who really want to discover new music, genuinely, they do know what Bandcamp is.
Yeah. And I think it is like a musician-driven thing. Like, if you're a musician, you know Bandcamp. But like my wife, for example, she doesn't make music, but she's a music fan. And I talk about Bandcamp before, and she doesn't know, right? And I think that's another perspective I have. It's like, oh yeah, if I just put it on Bandcamp, like you're eliminating the whole population that doesn't know about it. But I've also had coworkers, I talk about music and making music, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't know what Spotify is. Yeah. And it's like crazy to think that there's even like that level to people who just, they're like, yeah, if I like a song, I'll just search it up on YouTube and listen to it.
Yeah, and YouTube Music is, it's a very popular platform, but, for people to just look for anything, it's probably, maybe they just understand it a bit more. It's a little bit more user-friendly, possibly, than Spotify in the mainstream. Yeah. I think YouTube have gone sort of in an Apple way to kind of making it really easy for people to use. Yeah. And that becomes attractive to people then. So they'll look up all sorts of stuff, I guess.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why YouTube has become that. And I think that's why Apple and Tidal and some of these other streamers are not getting as popular, because Spotify, you can still listen to something without paying. Yeah, there's ads. But some of these are kind of more behind paywalls, and that kind of makes them a little more difficult.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just going to play a little bit of your track. If I can just find that on here.
Sure.
So I'm going to play Hornets, as you said, and I'm going to just kick it off. It's just after the start, and then we'll just talk about it. I'll play about 30 seconds, and we'll just have a little chat about this track.
Okay.
Okay, it's a cool sound. It's that particular one, it's an electro sound, I would call it. It's got that kind of solid rhythm, and tempo's not too fast, but it's got quite a wide, maybe double track vocal style sort of thing going on. So tell us a little bit about that song.
Yeah, and it's Hornets is a little different than a lot of the stuff I put out. It's something I really kind of wanted to push myself to try something different. So when I was in my early 20s, I listened to a ton of like Muse and Arctic Monkeys.
Yeah.
Like AM came out around that time, and I was definitely like inspired by stuff like that. And then I didn't really make any music like that over that time. And then last year, one of my friends, his project's called Phones with Chords, and he released an album called The Speed of Time, and it really reminded me a lot of that
Yeah.
music, that Muse and almost Queens of the Stone Age, stuff like that. And I was like, you know what, I got to try to write something like in this style, because it's just a type of song I really loved for a long time. And that was kind of the idea behind it, to get something in that like like Uprising by Muse,
Yeah.
or like things in that kind of style.
And how much of that, how did it take to put that track together and get it? Do you mix and master and everything yourself, the whole thing?
Yeah, so mixing and mastering has been a long journey for me.
Right. Yeah.
So when I put out my first album, I guess you could call it that, it was kind of more an EP, which was 12 years ago. I sent, and for the first like 3 or 4 albums, I just got other people to mix it, and I got other people to master it, because I'm like, I can't do this. Like I'm not a mixer or a mastering engineer.
Yeah.
But over that time, I've kind of, playing in the scene and meeting people, like you talk about mixing and things like that. And I kind of grew in confidence about it. And this record, this new one, Kaleidoscope and Hornets and all this, it's the first record I've mixed and mastered all myself.
Right.
So it's,
so you're happy with it?
And I'm almost, yeah. And people have been saying like, they love how it sounds. They feel like the production's really good. And I'm like, I almost feel like why was I so scared before? Like I was scared of making things that sounded bad, but like in order to get good at anything, you have to make something that's bad, right?
Yeah. And I think it's always good as well though to get a perspective. You know, maybe you do it yourself for long enough, but then maybe you just ship one out to somebody else one time and go, just remix that for me, and let's just make sure I'm still on the right track. You know, I'm not getting any bad habits.
No, and that's a good point too. Like maybe actually taking that time, that 10 years of just having other people mix it and hearing things and hearing what maybe that's part of what's helped me too. So you're right. I probably shouldn't discount.
Yeah, I think if you've got a good ear generally, and you know what you like, and you know you can align it with other music that you think is good and produced well, and you think, well, you know what, these sound similar, so I'm happy with that, and that's good, because I mean you can save yourself a ton of money.
Yeah. No, and that's a part of it too, right? But one of my friends, Davis, he mixed a lot of my stuff, and he would always say, like, because I would always talk to him about, like, I don't understand how you mix music. Like, he mixed for tons of people. Like, that stresses me out. And he's like, you know what? Here's like what I always think. I'm like, if it sounds good to me, at least one other person is going to think it sounds good.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, that's so interesting. And he's like, and any song too. He's like, if you write a song, like at least one person out there is going to love that song.
Yeah.
So like, just make it for that one person, even if that's all it is. And I like, that's always stuck with me. It's like, yeah, like if you're vibing with it, there's a good chance at least one other person out there is going to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, I think it's only when you get into the real sort of technicalities of stuff that somebody might start pulling it apart and say, oh, you know, I think you could have put another 6 dB at the low end on that kick drum.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Doesn't really...
Well, and you do get some of that. Like I've released, the last album I released, I mixed a lot of it myself. And there's one song on there. You can tell this is stuck with me. There's one comment. There's only this one comment. And there's a song on there called Melancholia. And I played a snippet of it on like a TikTok or something. And somebody commented, oh, this is so poorly mixed. Like I could have mixed this way better. And like, it's one comment out of all the things. And I still think about it. I listen to that song now and I'm like, did I actually mix this poorly? And it's like, that's like that self-doubt piece that's so huge. And when you're doing everything yourself, like you think you might miss something, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I mixed a track for someone a couple of years ago, and I wasn't convinced that it was that good, really. And I played it to a few people who are engineers, mixing engineers, you know, and one of them definitely who you know, for me, I thought was a good engineer. He was right. He said, this is fantastic. You know, it's a really, really good mix of this. And I was thinking, okay, Well, that's a boost, isn't it? You know, that's something you'd like to hear. No, I don't think.
Yeah.
I would never say to someone, you know, oh, well, I'm not good enough myself to be able to say to someone you need to boost the highs by
Yeah,
by
100%.
2 dB.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a real opinion type of thing.
But I think it goes back to like, I mean, we were talking off camera about the internet and how people can just comment anything and there's no need to follow through on anything.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much of it is that, like people commenting, "Oh, this is so bad. Like I could do this better," but like they would never prove it, or like nor would they ever follow through on it, right?
So what's next for Western Jaguar?
Yeah. So like I said, the new album, it's up on Bandcamp. It will not be out on streaming till November. So I wanted to give people who are going to support it, and like I've been so blown away by the support that this album has had. I wanted to give that to people early. So everyone you support on Bandcamp, they have the album 3 months early, and they have bonus tracks that won't be on streaming. So I'm going to kind of keep pushing it over till November when it officially drops on streaming, kind of elongate that. Keep working on a new record because that's really all I know how to do.
Have you
keep working on the next one, keep promoting.
Have you ventured into the physical media at all?
So yeah, I've made CDs. This dates me. I've made CDs for every release I've ever done, except for this one. And again, it's just things have gotten so expensive, and it's just hard to justify it when you're at like the level that myself and lots of indie musicians are at. Like the lot of the minimum orders are like 25 of vinyl or whatever if you're going to do physical media, and it's like I can't sell 25 vinyl like and it's like, and the cost of it, like because you're buying such small batches, you have to charge $50 for a vinyl, and it's just like I don't want to make people pay that too. So it's like it's tough, the physical media piece of things, because I think it's cool to have physical media, but it's also like trying to like mentally figure out how to do it in a way where it's affordable for people, but also like affordable for me in a way.
I think also sometimes though, I think that people, new artists and indie artists, are a bit sort of they resist kind of what you might call investing in themselves. You know, I mean, if you went to a record label, as you probably know, 20, 30 years ago, they would put up an advance. They'd loan you £100,000 to go and do all the things we just talked about, and then you'd have to pay it back through sales eventually. So you would be paying for it, and it just doesn't seem like that. But now, if you say to someone, well, you know, spend, I don't know, $1,000 or whatever it might be on CDs and vinyl, and essentially either sell it for as much as you can or even give it away, you are effectively transferring your work into someone's hands. And you are, that's the investment, that's the cost of it.
And that's what I have been doing lately, because I have so many CDs left from like all the albums I put out. And when I've been playing locally, like I play shows locally every once in a while, I just say, by donation, all these CDs. Like if you want to give me $1, great, take a CD. If you want to give me 10, great, take 4 CDs. I don't care. Like in that vein you're saying, it's like a promotional thing. Like if it gets somebody to listen again, then that's more worth it than any dollar amount, whatever.
Well, that's right, and I you know, I often maintain to people when they say, "Oh, I'm not getting any, no one's listening to my music, I'm not getting any traction." I say, "Well, do you know what? If you went out in the street and busked your songs for an hour, you'd probably get more interaction and genuine people talking to you about what you're doing than if you post 5 times a day on Instagram for a month."
No, and I think a lot of it with indie music is people are kind of afraid to put themselves out there in a way and do something like that, right? Because it's easy to write up a post, hey, here's my new song, listen to it, and post the link, right? But you need, especially nowadays where there's so much music coming out every day, like there's so much music, Like even just from popular music, it's so hard to like keep up with what's coming out, and you need to do something creative or different
Yeah,
or that'll stand out. And like you said, yeah, going out on the street, meeting people in person is
Yeah.
so underrated nowadays.
Definitely,
right?
definitely. But then gigging so hard, isn't it? I mean, I saw a post the other day, and it said, "I'm not going to go and see a band unless they've got a full set of live musicians. You know, hire a band and do it all properly."
Yeah.
And I thought, well, I've seen a few people do that recently. A few people who are relatively successful, and they can't make it pay.
Yeah. Well,
That's a whole new type of
yeah,
investment, isn't it?
And again, it goes back to your saying, yeah, do you want to invest in yourself to do that? Right. Like I remember when it's interesting how like your perspective changes as you get older too. Because I remember being like 15, 16, 17 playing in bands, and like someone would be like, come out and play, like we're not going to pay you, but you get to play. And I'd be like, sick. Yeah, we get to play.
Yeah.
And like as you get older, I think I was talking to one of my friends about this like a couple days ago, because he was coming over, we were recording some music, and we played in bands in our teens and like early 20s, and we're like, as an adult, you value your time so differently than when you were a teenager and like nothing, like, oh well, I'm gonna spend one night 10 hours at a venue to play for 20 minutes for free, who cares? But now as an adult, you're like, oh my gosh, think of all the things I could accomplish like at home or things like that in that amount of time for nothing.
I think when you're a teenager, you haven't even got a concept of time. It just doesn't exist. And you know, you can do anything for as long as you want, and no one cares whether it's whatever time of day or night it is. Whereas, like you say, as you get older, you start to gauge things by, you know, oh, it's 9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock. I need to be at home. You know, I don't want to be out at 9 o'clock at night.
No, and that's part of it too. Like I've had shows too where people ask me, "Oh, come play this show," and it's like an hour and a half away, and I'm gonna play till midnight. I'm like, I'm not gonna be home till 2 a.m. Like that's so late. Whereas when you're younger, you don't even think about stuff like that. No. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, look, as I say, these are relatively short, so I'm going to wrap it up. Really appreciate you contributing and hooking up, following up on the Threads thing, because, like I say, it's difficult for everyone, time and all the rest of it. But I hope you know you might get something out of it somewhere down the line, and we'll stay in touch. And maybe what I'd like to at some point is get maybe 3 or 4 of us on the same call, to sort of just,
that would be awesome.
You know, throw some ideas around of what's working and what isn't working for people, and just try and inspire each other, you know, to do some stuff. I spoke to someone yesterday or the day before who just randomly had a YouTube thing go viral. You know, that's how they suddenly got some traction and some ads, and from that it spawned you know, quite, I don't know, tens of thousands of Spotify plays. It was a bit mad, but that's what can happen, isn't it?
No, and it's like, and I think that's that enticing piece with social media. Like, whatever piece of content you make, you never know. Like, could this be the one that gets me 10,000 listeners, right? And I think it's like a casino.
Oh, it's always
like,
a gamble
that's what
for
social
sure.
Media is. Like, do you pull the lever and, hey, maybe I'll win this time. You never know, right?
Cool. Okay, Jeff, really appreciate your time. Good luck with everything you're doing. I'll keep an eye on what you're up to, and I'll let you know when all this is going out somewhere.
Perfect. I appreciate it so much, Tim. Thanks for having me on.
No worry, buddy.
Appreciate it.
No worry. Take care. Okay, guys, we're on another short Q&A session. Tonight we've got Rob from a weirdly named band called Specky Cult, which I'm guessing we have to be quite careful about saying sometimes. So, Rob, tell us what you're all about, what you're doing, what your music's all about, where you're heading, and all that sort of thing.
I'll tell you a funny story about being called Specky Cult. I have a friend who runs a radio station, or is on a radio station. I won't name them because they're quite popular. But he actually said the word. He spent all day going, Specky Cult, Specky Cult, Specky Cult. And then live, he said it wrong, and they got a naughty letter.
I can imagine that's quite easy to do, actually.
Yeah. So, the name comes because when somebody made a comment about somebody in the band at the time, and that we knew it was so outrageous you wouldn't dare be able to use it, so we did.
Right. Okay. And what
So
sort
it's
of
that kind of the look on your face is why it's funny, because people are like petrified with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's memorable. Let's put it like that. So,
Yeah.
which is always good. So, what sort of stuff you doing? Where you doing it?
Uh, the band is obviously like all bands, various iterations of it. At the moment, we've got a drummer and keyboards, and we're all. The last couple of years, we've been electric. The original version was kind of acoustic.
Uh-huh.
Took a break due to COVID, and then once we came back, we decided to take a couple of years to get it electric. So we've got keyboard players, bass player, and it's a much bigger sound now, more punkier and more to the roots is what we wanted.
Yeah, yeah,
This is about a fourth single we've released. Is this version of the band?
yeah. So I did listen to the track which we were playing a minute. I listened to a few of the other tracks as well briefly, and it is, as you say, a kind of punk pop style stuff.
Yeah.
More punk than pop, I guess, really by today's standards. I think a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on punk pop. I get a lot of tracks labelled punk pop, but really that kind of pop, with a slight edge. Whereas I think yours is probably the other direction a little bit. Do you think?
Right.
I think so. I mean, it's more.
Yeah, that doesn't. I wouldn't shy away from it. I don't mind
It's
that.
more aligned, I think, with the sort of punk that I would class from my youth. That's the sort of punk that I think of, and I think that your sound, certainly the track that we're going to play, that's definitely got that style of energy about it, I think.
Good. Well, energy's there's a couple of words would love to be associated with, and obviously the first one is energy.
Yeah.
Especially live, we really go off when we're live, we're off stage and we're dancing about. And I could have sent you a couple of pictures of like various us standing at the bar playing live with radio mics and things, and energy is important for us. And the other thing was, and you'll probably notice this by the singles and the name, there was a conscious effort to not be serious.
Yeah, yeah.
To have an element of, if we're not laughing at us writing the lyrics, we've done something wrong and we need to go back to the drawing board.
And so,
hence the dad dance thing and various other songs. We've got one called Big Shot where the chorus is various shopping outlets that you shout loud and everybody kind of laughs at when they hear somebody shouting Asda and Morrison's in a chorus.
Right. And so, how are you getting on with how you finding getting music recorded? How are you doing that? Where you're doing it? And getting it out there? And what sort of platforms are working for you at the moment?
The first two singles we did locally that were really good, but this one and the last one we recorded it at the old church up in Rothbury, and it's where Sam Fender did his original albums.
Right.
So it was a bit of a little bit more, what's the word for it? A bit more serious, a bit more let's do this properly. And you can tell when you hear, I think if you hear Dad Dance, a lot of people are saying, oh, that's been produced well. Which is it's not what you want people to see. You want them to see other things, but it helps when people in the business can tell that you've made the effort.
Yeah.
It comes out on the 15th, and we've kind of released it ourselves, and it's via DistroKid, and it's just going to be on all the normal platforms. We have a local label called Butterfly Effect, and then later in the year they're talking about releasing something for us, releasing the next single. So this is kind of the one before someone releases it for us.
Yeah.
We're still trying to get out and about with. I spend most nights sending it off to various promoters and people who do gigs for us because we're trying to get further afield to gig.
Yeah.
With the kind of understanding that look, come October, November, we're going to be releasing something a little bit more on a label, so we need to get out and promote it. So this is kind of just to do spade work with it.
Yeah. And are you generally just touting it along the lines of, the Instagrams, the TikToks, the Threads, the Facebook? Is that you?
Yeah, all the normal social media. It's a bit of I've been in bands. I'm 57 now, so I've been in bands since I was about 17. So it's different now. If you're not doing the social medias, you're not going to get the gigs. Once upon a time, you just banged this cassette in the envelope and some guy invited you to do a gig. It doesn't work that way now. It's all got to be social media.
Yeah, and even that is difficult. I repost people's stuff all the time, and does it work? I don't know. It really, that's.
We are of a certain age. my friends don't come to a lot of gigs just due to the fact that at a certain age you've got kids, grandkids, you're busy with watching the football. We play with bands who are 19 and they can literally sell out venues. Got the friends from college, and even gigs is quite a difficult thing to do now. And we speak to people of similar ages or a lot younger than us even, and they're saying we kind of get people to gigs, but younger bands can sell them out straight away. And that, I mean, that's a good thing if you can mix and match and play with them, which is what we've tried to do.
Well, yeah, and this is one of the things that, you know, I always sort of try and do a little bit of without being too sort of I don't know, upfront about it, and that is to sort of catch on the bandwagon if you can of someone else's success. So if someone's, you know, if someone I can see is doing well, I'm always looking for not so much artists, because I like doing artists that haven't got that much success, but when it comes to trying to help them promote stuff or get it out there, I'm always looking for somebody with a bigger outlet than me. You know, somebody that's got a better, and I'll try and hook up with them in some way, whether it's a website backlink or just to get someone to follow you, you know, who's got a bigger audience.
Yeah, and that, I don't think you're being dishonest in that. I think bands do that, promoters do that, managers do that. It's all a bit of a like a circle, isn't it? That you're helping them and they're helping you.
Yeah, definitely, and it is. You know, again, you'll see this in some of the people we spoke to in the last couple of weeks. It's about building a bit of a relationship and a bit of a network, and trying to pick the right person for the right task that you've got at that time. You know, you might bring a single out and think, well, you know, they might be able to help me, but maybe they might not so much, and you just pick the right avenue for yourself. You know.
We're quite lucky. We find because we're all of a similar age and we're good mixers and we've got kids, and when we do gigs with bands always invite us back, and I think a lot of that's because we're good communicators. We're a bit, you know, we're not really young and a bit edgy and taking ourselves a bit serious. We always, if somebody describes us, I always use the analogy about, you know, these guys who play five-a-side on the Sunday and they're well past their best.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there having a tab and a can of lager and they're the goalie. That's us.
Yeah.
We don't take it at all. This is our hobby.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden people are going, oh, he's dead funny, and we quite get on with you. And it's like, because we're not taking it seriously.
Yeah, cool. Okay, well, look, I'm going to play a little bit of the track, which is out soon on the 15th, I think you said. Let's just play a little bit of that. Like I said, you may not hear this, but you'll know what it's all about. Okay, so I remember this now because I did listen to this when you first sent it, actually. That to me says people like Jilted John, the X-Ray Specs, Echo Beach, Martha and the Muffins, B-52s. Right. It's got...
We get the B-52s a lot, and Blondie. You get an extra point. The extra point is if one of the... There's a long convoluted story of how Specky Cult came about during COVID. And it was me being bored, and I wrote a musical, a punk version of Hamilton, and the band was called Specky Cult.
Right.
I took the name from what somebody had said about her. And it was when I was young, I played in London with the Stranglers. I supported them, and everything that happened to a 19-year-old. Oh well, we played with them at the venue in London.
The original Stranglers.
And it went, what?
The original Stranglers.
It wasn't. I tell you who it was. It was Paul. What was the singer? I've totally forgotten now, because we got on really well with the guitarist. But that's where I wrote a play about us doing those gigs.
Yeah.
And when I deliberately wrote the songs for the play, they were acoustic, but I wanted them to sound like Ian Jury.
Mm.
We deliberately wanted them to be like light-hearted and that kind of like humorous lines that Ian Jury does.
Yeah.
So, and even now, a lot of dad dance, I feel, when I listen to our lyrics, I always think, if people aren't smiling, we have done something wrong here. So there's nothing, I genuinely think it's a little bit of stuff that had the Ian Jury's clever witticisms. We're aiming at. I'm not saying we get there, but we're aiming at.
Yeah. No, it's definitely got a vibe of that sort of era about it, and well produced with it as well, like you said. So hopefully it'll do okay for you. I've got a punk pop playlist actually. I'll drop it on there. That seems quite popular. So where are you heading next? What's the next on the list for you guys?
Well, it's gigs, lots of gigs to promote it, and it's not out yet. So we at the moment it's that admin bit where you just send it to people and hoping to get somebody hopefully can I interview you, it's in a couple of magazines and we've had some reviews. It's all positive. It does feel better. The last couple of singles, each one's got better, whether it's production or this one. We deliberately sat down and went, we want people to sing along or to tap their feet, and that whole shouting dad dance live. Everybody's the same. It kind of, you can see people catching the rhythm of it.
Yeah. How many people are in the band?
We have a drummer, Steve, Carol, singer, me, and our keyboard player plays bass and keys.
Okay.
Just other Rob.
Cool. Okay. And whereabouts are you based? You're in the UK, obviously.
We're based in sort of Whitley Bay, Newcastle.
Is there plenty of venues up there around at the moment to play?
Yes, there's a really good scene, to be honest with you, and there's a lot of bands who we've been playing with who are a lot younger than us, and there's a couple, I'll not name them because all the heads will get too big, but you kind of go, this isn't bad playing with them, because if they make big, like my kids all go, I love them, they're really good, and we're playing with them.
Well, yeah, a bit of name dropping always works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And have you ventured into, I've asked a couple of people this, ventured into physical media, vinyl, cassette, CDs, any of that thing?
No, but we plan on Butterfly Effect, the label, we're going to come out in later in the year. They released 12-inch singles of the stuff they released, so we're going to obviously do that. It's just at the minute we're at the point where we give everything away. We don't charge anything or do anything. It's just because it's a hobby. You kind of like it, playing golf or whatever. You work out how much it's going to cost you a year, and that's what we put into the band.
Well, that's right. And again, I spoke to someone about this a couple of nights ago, and it's effectively, people say they don't want to, they want to do some CDs or they want to do some merch and that, but it costs too much, they never make the money back. And I said, well, yeah, but isn't that effectively investing in yourself? Really, is what you're doing. Yeah. It's one of the downsides of investment. You're giving stuff away to make sure someone goes away with something with your name on, that might remind them to listen to you again or to come to another gig or whatever.
It is, and it is a bit, you've got to you would invest in your hobby, like I said, if you played golf or you did something. So we're kind of, this single and the last one are really just to touch base with people. Somebody goes, oh, that's quite good, and we're kind of in the back of mind going, well, when this proper single comes out, when the thing on the label comes out, we'll go to them. Weirdly enough, we've had a few people who've been in touch from labels or going, we would have possibly, we could have got this out for you. Mm. So it was like everything else, it's a bit late, thank you.
Yeah. Well, you never know. You might get something out of it, and somebody might pick up on it. But
yeah, hopefully.
Okay.
And again, we're not, where the big guys smoking and drinking lager in goal on a Sunday. We're not that worried.
Yeah,
this is just fun for us, which weirdly enough helps.
Yeah. Are you rehearsing often?
But there's nothing. There's nothing better than doing gigs to get tighter.
That's right. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I did acoustic sets for ages on open mics, and the first couple were a bit iffy, but once you got through half a dozen, you've got it nailed, haven't you?
Well, that's one of our little. Excuse me. That's one of our little steals. We go do buskers nights, and if you like, no offense, that guys go on and he plays his favorite Bob Dylan song, and then we go play two songs we've written, and we come across quite good. It's a good way of getting the audience, people. Yeah,
confidence plays a big part in that, I think, doesn't it, as well? If you're confident in what you're doing.
Yeah. But the more you do it, the more confident you get,
exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah, it becomes more natural. So, anyway, Rob, it's been great talking to you. I hope you have some success with with the new single.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. It was much appreciated.
No problem.